What's going on, everybody? Welcome in for another episode of the Feed Your Fat Face podcast. A little different setup tonight, but as always, it's your host Kevin, along with me, your host Aaron. We're glad that you're here in with us. We're having to do a little different setup tonight because Kevin is trying to emulate his favorite '90s band and being a flu fighter. How's things going in the Hill household? You guys are
everybody in this house has the flu. It's bad. It's new for me today. Like, I'm just starting today, and I can tell we have a bunch of dogs, and the dogs are like, "Uh-oh, the big guy's down."
Yeah, we basically decided, my family, even though we already had the flu, we were like, why don't you just stay home and rest, and we'll figure out a way to record via distance. But we did it. We figured out. So now we can do remote podcasts. We can have all kinds of fun. Well, you're probably
a fair amount of trial and error.
Yeah, it did. It did take a little bit of a while, but tonight we're going to get into tonight's episode. I'm fired up about this one. We're doing Taco Talk tonight.
Yeah.
But
how have we not done tacos before tonight?
I don't know. When we were going over the episode guide, I was like, how have we waited this long for tacos, given that we both love tacos? But so you're feeling bad, but what's your eating regimen when you eat? Do you get a bigger appetite, less appetite? You have go-to sick foods?
I do a lot of chicken ramen.
Oh yeah,
when I'm sick. Yeah. So like I'll go up to that ramen place where we got the bacon fried rice.
I do not. I think of it.
I'll go up there and I'll get some bacon or some chicken ramen.
Right on. That sounds delicious.
It does.
How did you recover from the bean challenge last week? How you feeling?
You know what? I recovered great. I think I still have the beans. Oh. And with the flu, if I get backed up, congested, I'm going to eat 2 or 3 beans.
Fire some off. Dude, we had so many people ask us either online or in person if they thought that we were joking or that was a bit.
No, not even close.
I wish it was. It really did. Like, as I'm sitting here today thinking back on it, it really crossed over like heat, and it literally was a throbbing pain in the mouth.
Oh yeah, the roof of your mouth, the whole of the mouth was painful.
It was one of the more brutal and unfortunate things that I've done food wise. It was just atrocious.
Yeah. And one of the things though, they didn't have it was hot, but there were a couple of the beans that actually had flavor, which I was a little surprised by.
I actually thought the jalapeno one started out nice, and then it just got aggressive in a minute. Man,
it did. I mean, when the what was the first one? Chipotle or
no, the first one was sriracha.
Sriracha. And so when it started, it was immediately hot.
That one was a fire assault just from the word go.
I was like, oh, the rest of this is going to be very poor for us.
Yeah, and the whole thing, we weren't exaggerating at the end after the, what was that last one, the flaming pepper of death or whatever? And
the ghost pepper.
Carolina Reaper.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get words out. Like, we weren't exaggerating or trying to be funny. I couldn't talk. We got up immediately from the episode once we got it to stop recording, and we went and drank half and half. Like, it was that intense. Yeah.
It was very bad. It was, and the only words I could say were not podcast appropriate.
They were not. We would have had to change the rating 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to preview right now, and we'll let you know again at the end of this episode. But really, really excited about next week, episode 23. My friend, like a brother to me since 8th grade, Chris Butler is going to join us from Northwest Arkansas. Kevin, I've got good news. As soon as you feel better, I got our beer preview package in the mail today, so we're all set up to record with Chris.
Oh, I'm excited.
I know Chris listens, so brother, we're looking forward to having you. It's going to be awesome. We're going to talk all things beer. So yeah, we'll look forward to that. But we'll remind you that at the end of the show, you won't want to miss next week. But let's jump in and talk tacos. Do you consider yourself where do you come? Are you a taco fan, or what emotion does taco elicit from you?
I can't say I'm a taco fan because I am taco specific, and I don't eat crunchy tacos.
Okay, well, we're going to get into that in a minute.
So
Um,
I don't say I'm a fan because I don't eat like traditional or real tacos.
well, what do you? So you only eat tacos in a soft tortilla.
Yeah, I like if it is corn, and I prefer it not to be corn, but if it is corn, it's the soft corn,
So
and if it
you're actually
and I
halfway
usually go with
towards
flour.
you're actually halfway towards the original then, but
Okay,
we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. But I, on the other hand, I will do shady things for a taco. I like tacos of all shapes and sizes and varieties. Man, we went through a season. Bree and I just tried to eat all the different kinds of tacos. We would have tacos multiple nights a week. Um, so I wanted to know like where they came from a little bit, just because I guess I'm a little bit of a nerd like that. But do you have
sure.
any idea? You have any idea where they came from? Where they originated?
I'm gonna guess tacos came from somewhere weird like France.
Well, no. Um, so they, I mean,
Buenos Aires.
there's kind of some debate on it. Some people think that they actually came originally from the Middle East as like a folded, like a soft bread with meat in it, and then bring it
That's
over.
different than a taco, though.
That is different than a taco, which we'll get into again in a minute. But the taco as we know it started in the silver mines in Mexico. Um, and like all things, it's born out of necessity, right? So these guys are going down, they need something that was portable, didn't take up a lot of space. They also couldn't take like plates and cups down to the mines with them. So they would literally just put meat in this tortilla. But I learned that process started overnight in a process called the word is nixtamal, and it's spelled Nixtamal, like
Okay.
Uxmal, the city. But they take maize and they boil it in a super diluted lime constant like substance, lime and water.
Okay.
Boil it, and then just kind of let it sit out overnight, and then it gets really soft and pliable. And
Hmm.
initially, it just sort of came with whatever protein was handy. So you might get little fish in it, wrapped in this little tortilla, whatever. Yeah, just kind of whatever protein um, was handy. And then obviously in Mexico, it blew up to this day. Have you been to Mexico?
I have several times.
Yeah. So have you done street tacos?
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about street tacos?
I've come out unscathed all but one time.
Yeah, I love street tacos, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love them so much. So that's kind of that's where they in Mexico sprang into notoriety. Like they were kind of regionally unique, but then they settled into this specific kind of the street taco. And they basically, if you're along the coast, you can find fish tacos at street vendors, but really it settles into pork and beef. So they would say
Sure.
al pastor or asada. But yeah, cooked right there in the little. So do you know why they do two tortillas?
No. Is that the fallout?
I always thought that it was about they break really easy, so it's like extra durability. But yeah, I think if this is what you're getting at, the idea is you would take the outside one off and set it down, eat over it, and then whatever falls out, you've got a second taco.
Well, that's how I've always used it. So I'm glad to hear that I do that properly.
You're gonna I don't know how you're gonna feel. Actually, I know exactly how you're gonna feel about this, but do you know what it was that triggered that brought um tacos kind of front and center in the American conscience?
No.
Okay, so in the mid 60s, so in the early, you started seeing tacos, I read in the, okay, so like the way you geeked out over last week's episode,
Sure.
I went hard for, like after tacos. I deep dived. Uh, but so like in 1905, you started seeing tacos stateside, but people were actually super weary of them and they were afraid of the spices, and so they really spent most of the first part of the 1900s not being very popular or being well thought of. They were kind of like if people wanted to do like a daring food thing, they would try to make tacos. But the taco was actually popularized in 1962 when a man decided that he wanted to find a way to introduce Mexican food to non-Mexican people. And when I tell you his name, you'll know exactly where it was. It was a man named Glenn Bell,
Really?
as in Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Taco
Yeah.
Bell is credited in Los Angeles as being sort of the first pop up. taco shop, and from there they sort of caught on. And to the point I was making earlier, he is the one who popularized the crispy taco, because the soft taco, both the corn and flour varieties, they would go bad too quickly. And so he had to come up with something that was more shelf stable. So he started baking or frying them, and they would last
Okay.
longer in that state than they would regular. So as much
So
as you don't like Taco Bell,
well, let's. I try not to eat Taco Bell because I know it's not healthy for me.
yeah, that is
I
true.
love Taco Bell.
I don't like the. I think it's the cheesy gordita crunch, where it's like a soft tortilla, then cheese wrapped around a crispy tortilla, and then you get the
Yeah,
meat and the goodies. Yeah,
yeah,
buddy. This is the
yeah. Just
international science of
whatever they've
taco.
got, I'll take it. Give me all the tacos.
Yeah, man. You tried the Doritos Locos?
No,
Really? You know
no.
the idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, the shell
yeah.
is made out of a nacho cheese Dorito.
I'm not big on Doritos,
Oh, it's magical, Kevin. It's magical. I don't even like them. I don't even like them. Uh,
but it's magical.
it is magical. I mean, I don't even go to Taco Bell that often because but I'm going to be honest with you. I had to come clean on this. You know that I am Captain Food Hyperbole, and I make these grandiose statements, and then I
Right?
have to back down. So I'm going to tell you, like, I slept on Taco Bell for a long time. But here's what I want to offer. I really liked Taco Bell in middle school and high school,
Uh
back
huh.
in the, what was it, the 59, 79, 99 days? You remember
Yep.
that? Yeah. I feel like after, like, late 90s, in fact, I've got anecdotal evidence to support this later, but things took a dive. I think the last
They did.
few years, they've sort of rounded a bend, if you will.
I believe that's exactly right. I know when we were younger, when like you said, junior high, high school days, Taco Bell was the only place I could eat for like $15 and get full.
Yeah, and our parents would have to buy the like multi packs of tacos because there's
Yeah.
no chance. Yeah, no chance of getting us full otherwise.
Right.
Yeah, so I have to acknowledge that we stopped on the way up to our Oklahoma trip. We stopped at with Bree's family at a Taco Bell, and I'm gonna be honest, man, it was exceptional. I
You
wasn't
know what?
expecting.
When you only have it once in a while, it is really good.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that, but that's
I think it's kind of like what being sober is like. If you're like, I've been sober for 3 years, and then you
yeah,
take a hit.
it just feels so good. It just wants to hit
Right.
your lips. Yeah, yeah. And then today, are you familiar with Taco Fusion?
I
Yeah,
am.
so there's like kind of this rebirth of like intermingling cultures, which I don't know that I think is necessary, because I think that every culture sort of has its own version of the taco. But anyway, you can
Sure.
go, like, there's a place here in downtown San Antonio, which I actually really recommend, on South Alamo, called Hot Joy, and they do Asian fusion, and they have some different tacos. Just so, but people are trying just all these different cuisines with in all these different flavors with tacos. What do you think? Are you a taco fusion guy, or is it just unnecessary gamesmanship to you?
You know what? I actually do like it because I like trying something a little different, trying something, try to make it bigger than just a meat, cheese, and, lettuce and tomato taco.
Yeah. So let's get something that's first one, may some of the listeners may find somewhat controversial. But let's get into kind of second segment here, and let's just talk tacos. So for you, first and foremost, what is it, in your opinion? What makes something a taco? Like, what is it that you go a taco? It's a taco because it has these characteristics.
Um, the tortilla or
Okay,
the shell,
or the shell.
it's got to be one. So it's not a bread. It's
Okay,
it's a tortilla or the shell. For me, it's the tortilla.
okay.
Um, it's wrapped on some kind of meat, not vegetables like bacon and eggs. Um,
Those aren't. All right, we'll talk breakfast tacos in a minute.
uh, but it's wrapped around some kind of meat, some kind of filling that way. Usually a pico or a salsa.
Yeah,
But
I would
those are
agree.
like the core ingredients to me.
What about a thicker? What do you think of, like, let's say Indian cuisine. Let's say I use naan. Can is a naan? Does that count?
I don't think so because that's a bread.
So for you, taco, it can only be taco if
Yeah, I mean
it's
you
tortilla.
start with the tortilla.
So whether it's soft or crispy, it's got to be a tortilla. It is strictly then a Latin food.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I totally agree with that, but I see where you're coming from. Like when we were talking about the whole Chilean
Go
beans
ahead, bring
thing,
it up.
I didn't even know where you were coming from. It was so bizarre, but at least this one I sort of understand. So
You
hear
don't
me
know
out.
how relieved I am to have your approval.
This is I know that's not true. So this is the part that's probably going to be controversial, and I'll tell you how it ties into Taco Dome in a minute. But would you say a hot dog is a sandwich?
No, I mean, I think a hot dog most closely resembles a taco.
Right. Yeah. So many people, some of you listening, probably my brother, if he's tuned in, I know he definitely, they would say, no, a hot dog is a sandwich. So
Right.
to be clear, my overarching answer to this is that a hot dog is something so glorious that it gets its own category. No, it's not a sandwich. No, it's not a taco. It is a hot dog.
I agree with that.
Okay. However, as you said, its next of kin is a taco, not a sandwich. Like it is
Yeah,
much more closely related to a taco.
it's second cousins once removed from a
Right.
taco.
Right. That's exactly my point. And I think it has to do with the hinged bread, but
Right.
I would even make the case if somebody told me like, well, it turns out that the hot dog was America's attempt at trying to Americanize a taco. I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. And, I'm
See, I
not
don't
saying
even know that I agree with that.
I want to be clear. I'm not saying that a hot dog is a taco. I'm saying it is most. If we're picking sides, if a handheld food war breaks out and they're picking teams,
Right.
I'm just saying I think the taco ends up with the hot dog.
Yeah, they end
Not
up in the
the
same
sandwich.
camp.
Yep, I agree with you.
Hot dog doesn't end up with sandwich.
Okay. Okay, so that wasn't controversial with you, but I would be willing to bet that there's some hot takes from our
Oh, if Jason's listening, then yeah, there's going to be some
as
language.
people can be really, really passionate about wrong ideas.
Yeah,
What
like
are your
beans.
favorite? What are your favorite taco fillings?
Uh, I like the fajita style meats, chicken or beef, or pork. Uh, I'm not super picky. I mean, I love all kinds of tacos. I especially love breakfast tacos.
Except you said you don't like crispy tacos.
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, in the
So
soft.
let me ask you this: what about have you tried like the middle of the road, the hybrid? Have you tried the puffy taco?
I have. Not a
Which
fan.
apparently that was born in San Antonio. Like that's our thing.
Well, all right. I guess I'll try it again and try to like it, but
But
it's not my thing.
you don't like. So there's a
I like
restaurant.
others better. It's not that I don't like it, it's that I like others better.
I can see that. You familiar with El Chaparral
Yes.
restaurant here in Helotes? There's also one in San Antonio. They do their puffy tacos, but you can substitute fajita beef for the picadillo. It's pretty good.
That's a good tip to know.
Yeah, for me, my favorite taco is would be tacos al pastor, which is the marinated pork meat, kind of that bright red color, which is from Achiote. And oh my gosh, it's so good! It's so good. There's a place actually on the west side of San Antonio called Taquitos West Avenue, and if you go Thursday through Sunday, they have al pastor, and nothing like it. Best I've ever had.
Al pastor tacos are next level.
Yeah, after that, I would go asada. Um, and so I will admit, I think one place where you and I differ from tacos, there is I wouldn't call it authentic, but there is a soft place in my heart for just a crispy beef taco, like crispy shell, lots of beef, lots of cheddar cheese. Like I have a soft spot in my heart.
I'll do all of that except the crispy.
Dude, I can do damage on crispy tacos.
Oh yeah, I've been witness.
Yeah. I'm not saying I am or am not proud of this, but I've had 18, I think 18 in a setting once when I worked at a summer camp.
Right.
How, you've already said you're not a big fan of veggies on tacos. Is that across the board? There's just no
I like what do I like? I like lettuce and tomato and some avocado, but I'm
Yeah,
not a fan of a lot of veggies. I'll take, more of a fajita style. I'll take the
peppers and
any
onions.
kind of the grilled onions, peppers, all of that. I'll take all of those.
Yeah. What about, so do you do cilantro and onions? Like, do you do street tacos? You like cilantro and onion?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Those are veggies, you know.
I,
I just
I
wasn't
do
sure.
I
Maybe you
do
thought it
need
was
flashcards for veggies. I'll admit that.
maybe you thought it was stew. I don't know.
I thought it was a soup.
Do you prefer street tacos or full-size tacos? Like a fajita taco size, say.
Oh, I like full size tacos
Okay.
because I'm gonna eat by weight.
Yeah. I think I prefer the street tacos. There's just something delicious and authentic about it to me. You muted, you left your sound on and took your video off for that sneeze.
I realized that as I hit it, and I was wrong button.
Hey, technology, new fun, right?
Right, exactly. So there's a nice cough for all the fine folks at home.
Where do you come down on taco salad?
I mean, I don't. I'm not a fan because that's not what I'm there for. It's way too. It overemphasizes the lettuce and other things, and I'm just not in for that.
I think it's hilarious because they pitched, or maybe when they first came out, they pitched it as a like as a healthy alternative. I'm like,
Right.
it's five times the fillings I would normally eat, and I
Yep.
can eat the bowl. Like it's
The
not
fried bowl.
right. It's not. This is not a health food. Um, okay,
But
so you
you gotta give them credit for the ingenuity of trying to pass that off as a health food.
somebody got it through research and development. They were like, you know what, this is a good idea. I like
If
where
we
your head's
call it
at.
a salad, people will think it's healthy. Just throw it out there.
Throw it out there. You said you like breakfast tacos.
They're my favorite.
Okay, so what's your go-to breakfast taco?
Uh, well, like we were talking the other day, I like bacon and eggs with a little bit of steak.
The white boy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I'll allow it. Stuff. So I eat a lot of al pastor breakfast tacos also, but you know, I also am a big fan of just I don't. This will be for another episode, but I'm not. Okay, I want to choose my words because I don't want to get caught. So I'm not a huge fan of eggs, but what I mean when I say that is I'm not a huge fan of the way most people prepare eggs.
Sure.
So usually when I go to a breakfast taco, I will get potato and bacon and cheese, no eggs.
Yeah, instead of the eggs. Yeah,
Yeah, it's delicious.
I make bacon and eggs probably 4 days a week.
Do you do refried
Uh,
beans at all when you get tacos?
when I get them out, yes. When I do them here, no.
Refried
But
beans are
I'll
a
do.
commitment.
I make my bacon on my skillet that's built into my stove, and then I make my eggs in the bacon grease.
Oh yeah, my mom used to do that growing up. We kept a metal coffee can full of bacon grease in the fridge at all times.
But dude, I have a little pig on top, and it's a little, little. It's this big, um, bacon grease deal in my fridge.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Oh, you just pull it out. I'll throw some bacon grease and some mac and cheese, and all of a sudden it's bacon flavored mac and cheese.
Or green beans, it's good in green beans, boy. Flavor them right up.
I'll take your word for it.
You don't. You eat like a like a
Just
like an
stop.
8-year-old.
Just stop.
You don't eat veggies.
Just I have the flu, man. Leave me alone.
Okay, we'll visit it next week. Yeah, right. All right. Hey, listen, I've got you're I know you're not feeling well, so we'll head towards the finish line, but I've got a couple of historical food newses for you that are taco themed. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, do you remember the 2011 Taco Bell meat crisis?
Is that the one where they were accused of like 50% meat and they came out and they're like, no, 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 it's 80%.
Yeah, no, they actually, yes, except you're far too generous. Studies research that showed that their studies showed that their meat was only 35% beef.
Didn't Taco Bell come out and say no, it's 80%.
Let's see. The lawsuit against the Yum Brands chains has beef with the company's advertising, charging its claim of using seasoned ground beef for seasoned beef in its food product is false. Um, Attorney Dean Miles said the meat mixture contains 35% beef, with the remaining 65% containing water, wheat oats, soy lectin, maltodextrin, anti-dusting agent, and modified cornstarch.
I think a lot
Um,
of those are on the list from last week.
yeah, and Taco Bell actually didn't. In this one, there was one in 2014 that they fought, or 2018 that they
Okay.
fought, but 2011 they were just like, bah, "You got us. It's not beef." So,
Well,
uh,
whoever thought it was though? I mean that kind of goes in with that
for
Burger
real, dude,
King.
like, where's the beef?
Yeah. Well, no, Burger King with the guy suing them because it didn't look like the picture.
Oh, right.
I'm like, come
Yeah,
on.
I'm like, dude, it's 59 cents, like
Right.
for a whole taco. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's
Of
not.
course it's not beef.
Yeah. I thought this was funny, very Canadian on our second news item. 2013. Have you ever heard of Taco Gate?
No.
Okay, so then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau got in trouble because he did this thing where he's like, he said something at a news conference and uh, ended up saying he was gonna feed the poor. He's gonna feed all the poor in Canada a taco, and they did this big thing, and he served
Oh my
tacos.
goodness.
But then people came out and were like, it's demeaning and belittling, and it's painting Mexican food as cheap and painting, over. It's a disproportionately high number of Hispanics are poor, and so he actually caught a lot of flack for feeding tacos to people. Uh,
I have a feeling the people that were upset about it were not the people that needed food.
Probably true. If ever I can find a story with a political bend to it, I just like to watch your reactions.
I, well, I mean, yeah, Justin Trudeau is what he is, but I mean that's if you're going to feed people, just feed them. It doesn't have to be a thing. And for somebody to be upset that it's like, hey, we're going to feed everybody a brisket or a taco or a hot dog or whatever it is, I'm pretty sure the people that are hungry are just glad to have the food.
100%. 100%.
So
Yeah.
that one I'm actually more upset with the people who were upset about it.
Well, I dominated this episode. Do you have any taco thoughts to add to the discussion?
No, man, I'm actually I will if I have the energy to make anything, I'll probably go make some bacon and eggs, and I've got some tortillas, and so I'll probably make some breakfast tacos.
Attaboy.
But I'll be real honest. I stood up and walked across the room the other day and needed a 2-hour nap, so that's
This is
probably
about
not
draining
super
you.
likely.
Yeah. Well, hey, dude, thank you for powering through.
Hey, you know what? I love you, man. I love our fatties. Just the fact that people tune in and listen to this, I'm always so blown away.
Yeah.
Just thank you guys.
And it gave us an opportunity to establish a new, I feel like this has some legs. We can hop on even outside of our regular recording schedule when the need arises, and we can make some things happen. But again, next week we're going to record, and that's when Chris is going to bring us into the loop on all things beer. Chris is interesting. He's a great storyteller, knows a ton about beer. Just a good cat. We played
smart guy, good guy.
Oklahoma on one of the windiest days ever.
We played outside in Oklahoma. I wouldn't call what we did golf, but we played outside.
Chris played pretty well. Me and you and Tim less well. I did hit a drive onto an actual crowded freeway. You remember that?
You did,
Yeah.
Which was it's hard to find a crowded freeway in Oklahoma.
Found it. Well, hey man, I really, really hope that you get better. I'm going to start our music because that means that it's about that time. So, yeah, rest up, feel better. Maybe I'll bring you some soup or something. I'm just leave it on your porch. I don't want what you got.
No, you don't. But I would certainly appreciate the soup.
Even as you lay there sick, do you have any advice for our good friends?
Hey, as always, keep the grills hot and the beers cold.
That's right, fatties. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday, or we'll see you next week for Beer Talk.